This hide and hook tip is brought to you by Ripcord Rest. Just pull the cord. Starflight, makers of the fantastic fob, big dog tree stands. This dog will hunt. Hey everybody, got a tip for you. I talk to a lot of guys at these hunting shows and the seminars and things that we go and do, and a lot of guys are always have a lot of concerns about their bow shops not being in business anymore and getting service work done on their bows, like serving and D-loops and tying in their peeps and poundage adjustments and things like that. And I'm going to do a few tips in a series here, along with a few hunts that's going to be coming up in the future. This is going to be the first installment of the hide and hook tips. And today I'm going to show you how to fix serving that comes off like this. And what you need when you serve is you need a serving jig with the serving material, which can either be cloth, like it's on this serving jig, monofilament, like it's on this serving jig, a couple of string spreaders, and then a cable spreader that opens the cables up so you can get in there and use the jig. And it's really easy and simple how to do, and I'm going to demonstrate that to you now. Okay, what I got here is I got a compound bow that has a real bad problem with the string serving coming off, and unfortunately nowadays it's more than likely what would happen to a bow like this, since the string's not going to be that expensive, is we would just replace the string. But for argument's sake, I'm going to show you how to reserve this with a starting point and an ending point, and also how to reinstall the nocks. First thing we got to do though is we got to take and remove these nocks and get the string ready to be served, which is remove all the old serving material that's come unfrayed. A lot of people have seen this and it happened to their own bow, and it's just part of wear and tear due to the fact of shooting your bow, and sometimes release tears it. This has the old monofilament on it, and what I'm going to end up doing is replacing this monofilament with the cloth serving, which I think has a little bit more wear to it than this. And I'm going to be using a white just so for the camera's sake, because it'll pick up the white a lot better than it will the black, especially with my black shirt and stuff. So I'll get this all snipped away here and cut and removed, and you can about a mile of daggone string on there. And this has probably been on this bow for a long time. It's an older bow. Let's see here. Serving will be the least of your problems if you use a razor knife or something. There we go. Take a measurement off of your peep. Make sure that before you start this, that your nocks that were on here, your knock points, were all level and square and stuff. That way you can measure from the top knock back to your peep sight. Make sure that that measurement's right, and then measure from your peep sight or your knock point, either one, to your kisser button so you can get it back in there. That's what I usually do. Then it's a lot quicker when the customer comes back to get the bow. Put the cable separator in here like so. This is going to allow for the serving jig to pass between the cables and the string without causing a bunch of clicking and hitting and stuff. What you do is you take one of your string spreaders. It's easy for you to say. Anyway, and look, I'm not going to edit this crap out because I'm really doing this. You take this string spreader and you stick it in through the spring, being careful when you do that not to be, if you start seeing the strings like fray inside, you should be able to open it up like that without seeing a bunch of strands going across looking like spider webs. If you see that, you're messing up. Don't do that, because that's going to be actually degrading the string itself. I always kind of hold it there like this. You take a little bit of your string, your serving string, okay, you stick it into there where you just spread open, all right, and you hold it. You go ahead and take this back out. Now that should hold it. It should actually hold the jig just like that, kind of hands-free for a couple seconds. Take the string like so, and you're going to hold this tail down, and you're going to wrap this serving jig around the string going down inside. It's going to be covering it up along with the string for the bow. What you do is get this up so tight, get started 3 or 4 times around, and then should be getting good now. Now see, this, you have to adjust your tension. You want this thing to be pretty tight so that it actually squeezes tight, and it'll turn into a round. You see as I'm going around in circles, and my finger's probably in the way. but it's starting to make that little, like a noose. What I'll do is I'll go around about 15 times, 20 times or something. No set numbers about how many times to go around. And what I like to do is keep hold of this loose tail end that was your original knot. That's probably good. Then what you do is you pull this up and out of there. Then you keep on going down, just like this. I'll take it and put it through that kisser just to get it out of my way for now. Because that's going to come back. You're going to come back and you're going to cut that off. Just keep on boogieing here. But this, if you're shooting a release, you know, if you're shooting a quick release with a D-loop or something, you don't have to do the old style serving all the way down like 12 inches. That's a leftover thing from the finger shooters' time because they needed more room for their hand. Nowadays, you can serve just a small amount, a couple of inches, just enough that you have a little bit above and below your D-loop and enough for your string to snap on, your knock to step on your string. And it wouldn't hurt at all. I said this was white, but it's getting black from this thing. And the wax is actually smearing on there, but I think it's easier to see if it's than it is if it would be totally black. But anyhow. Alright, let's just say hypothetically, we've already served it all the way out for the finger shooter guy. What we do is you'll pull this out, get yourself about a foot. Snipped it off there. Oh well, I'll get it in a minute. You don't want to let go now because it'll go. Anyway, you take your loop right here, your string, real tight close up of this right here. This is the tricky part. Now you notice as you come down on this, we're actually going counterclockwise if you were to look at this string from the bottom face up, okay? What you do is you'll take your string that you have right here, that you got, okay? And you're going to go around the opposite way that you're going with the string up here, okay? So whatever way this is going, you go the opposite way. And you go inside that loop. You hold that loop out with one finger, and you go around. And then you go around. And then you go around. Just like that, constantly. Kind of slide it down, get it out of the way. Stack it up. You want to get about 15 of them stacked up. Something like that. A dozen times, you know, at the very least. You keep going round and round and round. You pull that down, get it out of the way. Alright, now, what you do, that's enough. What you do is you pull this string up and you put it right there with this other string that the other part of the string will hold. Okay? You can see how that is right there. Alright? Then you're going to go around again. And this time you're going to stack it up to where it's going right up against each self, just like you were before with the jig. This time you don't have a jig though. Keep going like this. And see, it's unwrapping from this end and it's storing it up here. You've just taken it where you put it for a minute and you're taking it and putting it there. It's real easy. Once you watch this a few times, you'll catch it. It's simple. Go round and round she goes, and there you go. When you get to the end, that's where you stop. Okay, then you got the end of it. You can see right there. You got a loop. Alright, now it's cool. Hold down on the piece that you've been wrapping, where it's been wrapping at, and then you take this string, and I always have to take a pair of pliers and grab this string, and you pull it up, and you'll see that loop go boom. Look at there. You just tied that dude off. And you got that served nice and tight just like so. Now that you got these two ends tied and you got these loose ends, what you're going to do is cut it off about a ½ inch on each end. You take a lighter here and you'll burn that. Okay, we got that serving looking beautiful, looking good. Let that back down. Then what you do is, this is where the trick comes in that I told you before. You measure from your knock point to your peep sight, from your knock point to this. You measure back down from your peep sight, back down to what your knock measurement was. Always write them down on a piece of paper. And you put your knock in. Take a pair of knocking pliers. I suggest using knocking pliers, nothing else, because you can have problems. Just squeeze this booger back down. Thanks for listening to me babble. Hope I taught you something about how to serve a bowstring, and maybe it'll come in useful in the future. I really hope it does. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.